faster than the speed of sound. At an early age, you wanted to get out to pursue adventures all around. Things got tough sometimes, but it's all good, 'cause Tails is his best friend. He's always there for him. He's his sidekick. Through bad and good times, over and over again. What you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventures. It's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the IDW Sonic Rundown. We're deep in it. The Metal Virus saga is going on strong, a little too strong in my humble opinion, but you know what? It's a lot. It's a lot back when it was releasing, and I remember the fandom was in a little bit of disarray, especially considering the poor timing of this, because remember, in about 2020, a certain something happened around the world that was a little bit of a bad coincidence considering the storyline of this series.
Yeah, it's a little funny virus, so, but YouTube won't let us talk about the funny little virus. By the way, anti-vaxxers, you can go fuck yourself. But yes, it's me, Aaron, and Mr. Speed, Alberto here. We have some stuff we need to talk about with you guys today.
Yeah.
I can't.
I think it's just best if we just start,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all right. So, Sonic the Hedgehog, issue 19.
Flynn writing and Jack Lawrence is the artist. We open on Sunset City. Rouge called Sonic there over an outbreak of the metal virus. The city used to be a dazzling merchant hub with great jewel markets, she says, and it all came to an end after Eggman's war with the planet. But the people stayed strong and rebuilt after it all ended. The city may be doomed if it all falls to the virus, but sadly, Rouge won't pass the chance to help herself to some five-finger discounts. Oh well.
Ah, I see.
We see Sonic pinballing off some Zombots. He's calling for any survivors, but keeps getting surrounded. He can throw him off, but he just keeps speeding up his infection by grabbing him. However, he notices some people in an apartment building trapped inside by the surrounding Zombots, and they're all calling for his help. Sonic is just about to clear the way, but is caught off guard by incoming bullet fire from our boy, Omega.
Ah, yes, Omega. In spite of what we're going to see today, Omega is fucking great in these comics. God, I love him. I think this is something that's really cool about Omega, just in general. I think they've never missed a beat with his character. Like, he's just a funny little angry robot that's so obsessed with killing, it just kind of overrides all other common sense. It's pretty great.
And just like in the case with Gemerald, Omega's speech patterns are more robotic as well, but honestly, they keep his character exactly the same as it was in previous media.
Yeah, and I think the character consistency with Omega is very easy. It's a little different with Gemerald, where it was sort of on-off, but I think Omega, they nail it really well. So, Omega is basically saying that all Eggman robots must be eliminated, and because of the metal virus infection, anyone infected with it is technically classified as an Eggman robot.
Yeah, so Sonic has to come to Omega, says, hey, stop. These aren't the mass-produced badniks. They're innocents that were turned into robots against their will. Which leads Omega to take a Zombot by the head, point it at Sonic. Is this a robot?
Well, I mean, it seems like it.
Was it created by Eggman?
Technically, but...
And then he slams it into a wall. All Eggman robots must be eliminated. Nature and origin are irrelevant.
And this motherfucker just starts going to town with his big old machine guns. Sonic's just kind of...
Just like...
Okay. And then Rouge appears. Hey, Rouge.
Yeah, she calls for Sonic, saying, we're getting survivors to the Grand Flicky Hotel. Get everybody there. So, with the distraction, Sonic helps bring the people down from the building, telling them go straight to the hotel. And one guy asks Sonic, do we have time to thank the robot that helped us? But then turns his head, Omega swatting away Zombots, doing his best Dalek impression, exterminate, exterminate! Sonic's just like, he doesn't need thanks. So just go to the hotel, alright? Yeah, he boosts the forward to plow the way clear, and then they arrive to the hotel's barricade. Restoration soldiers are keeping the Zombots away with burst Wispons, and finds Rouge giving orders to secure the back flank. He's a little surprised to see Rouge giving orders, but she says, hey, can't live in high society with no civilization, can I?
Okay, all right, I see you, Rouge. You're that bitch, huh?
So she gives some messages to Sonic. Number 1, thanks for coming. Number 2, don't touch me. And 3, how you doing? Well, Sonic says, running from town to town is keeping the infection in check, but every time I take a hit, it gets worse. So Rouge thinks it's more or less manageable. Not the same for the city, though. This is a pretty sloppy attack for Eggman standards. To which Sonic says, Eggman's not really in control of the Zombots. Oh, isn't that just marvelous?
Sonic actually decides to ask a pretty good question. Where's Shadow? Picking up a transport for the survivors? Really? I didn't know he cared. Every person is not infected is one less Zombot to deal with.
Yeah, go figure he would be like that.
Yeah.
Survivors reach the hotel and they ask to be let behind the barricade. The Zombots are right behind them, which leads Sonic to rush to them, asking, grab my hand, but remembers, hey, no, hops over them. Can't be doing that. One touch, you make it worse. Sonic just does a spin dash in place, which creates a blue whirlwind to spread the Zombots out, which the Restoration soldiers just kind of watch and are in awe of his abilities. But he shouts at them, hey, don't relent. The Zombots are not following a plan, so don't let your guard down. Sonic grabs 2 Zombots to get them away from the hotel, rushing back to Omega. You're supposed to be keeping the Zombots away from the hotel, to which he says, there are too many targets, not enough bullets. Enemies are advancing from both directions. By both directions, he means the bridge behind them. So he tells Omega, hold the line. To which Omega says, I will create this wall of bodies. That's not what I said.
As Sonic looks towards the bridge, but something's careening through, destroying the endless masses of Zombots before the gun truck from SA2 appears. Oh, hey, look, it's an old friend. It does a quick screech in towards the hotel before Shadow appears outside of it with a rather intense looking scowl.
Yeah.
Oh boy. We're not going to say anything about what's about to transpire. So
just hold on a second.
Just hold on a second. Let us go through all this dialogue.
Let us cook, yeah. Shadow glares at Sonic, and he's just like, oh, Shadow, what? You couldn't find anything bigger, huh? But Shadow says, shut up. Relax, I'm kidding. But Shadow just rushes into him and says, This is all your fucking fault, buddy. If I'd taken Eggman out back at Windmill Village, none of this would be happening. But Sonic says, look, man, a creeping Starline kidnapped him and made him evil again. Shadow says, that's just an excuse as far as I'm concerned. Sonic points to himself. He's about 70% infected now. Look, I'm infected too. I'm dealing with this too. To which Shadow says, it's what you deserve. Shadow, my man.
No. Just
a little uncalled for. Let's leave it at that. Uncalled for.
Sonic decides to run off, saying, I'm gonna go take care of my infection. Thanks for bringing the truck. Don't let the Zombots touch you. Shadow angrily saying, I know. And Sonic saying, if it happens, you should be fast enough to run it off like me. To then prompt the line, brace yourselves. Cowards run. I win.
Shadow.
Okay.
Shadow goes to Omega, asking him to protect the truck while Rouge oversees the evacuation, which he considers, resulting with the truck and refugees will become primary targets, drawing more attention to him. He's down. So what will you do, Shadow? To which he says, destroy Eggman's army. What else? Leaving him to throw a chaos sphere and dive right in the middle of the Zombot horde.
Wow, this is dangerous and reckless and incredibly stupid. Incredibly stupid.
Incredibly stupid. Rouge is getting the refugees inside the truck. Omega is unrelenting in his barrage. And in the distance, Rouge sees that Shadow is right in the center of the Zombots. And he's throwing chaos spears, which Rouge shares our sentiment. He's being reckless again.
Shadow breaks through the crowd, lands on a Zombot, and is in the center of a circle of them, saying, resilient, but so am I. The doctor's metal virus can't infect the ultimate life form. We then cut to Sonic, running through Green Hill, trying to joke, but saying that he's not used to getting tired, being constantly on the move is starting to take its toll. Yeah. We can visibly see the sweat from him, which is not something we often see with this character.
Mm-hmm. He's even checking his pulse too. And he looks in the distance of the destroyed city. He's thinking about his friends who didn't make it so far. Charmy, Cheese, and Chocola. Who knows who else has been infected? But Sonic just shakes it off. Look, just because a bozo did the wrong thing doesn't mean I didn't do the right thing. Mr. Tinker deserved a second chance, but I don't have time to be introspective. Gotta go save some folks. To which we cut back to Shadow, creating whirlwinds, throwing off the Zombots. But to his surprise, looks at his hand. He's contracted the virus, which he says it's impossible.
Okay, so by the way, I just want to point out, not even 2 panels before, he grabs a Zombot and throws it after literally being told by Sonic not to touch the Zombot and to be smart enough to do it, right? And Rouge says, Shadow, run, we'll hold things here. And then Shadow says, I don't run. And he starts fighting off the Zombots hand to hand. As Rouge says, that's not what I meant. Okay, we're just not not yet, please.
She asks Omega to support Shadow, but Omega says he cannot. The targets are advancing too rapidly. He needs to constantly do cover fire to protect the truck. And so we see Shadow. He's fighting to the end. Rouge calls Amy, we need more support. The situation went from manageable to disastrous, as Shadow is nearly fully infected and dragged down into the crowd. Sonic arrives right back to the city right then and there, as Rouge tells him to get behind the truck to handle Shadow. Sonic does so, but look, you're the only one he really listens to, so he goes under and over, and then he gets grabbed by the neck, pinned down, and understands what Rouge meant when she said, handle him. Ending on Shadow, fully turned as a Zombot.
Alright. So, yeah, now it's time to talk about it, I guess. Can you say character assassination? Because, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I'll bring it up. We saw some of this in Archie, but it wasn't as bad as this. Shadow has gone from being an interesting character to becoming Vegeta. I mean, just bro. Like he breaks the transport truck, right, to save people, right?
Okay, good start.
Okay. And then he's like, "It's your fault, Sonic." It's like, what are you talking about? I tried to do the right thing. No, we should have killed him. It's like, okay, right? And he's like, hey, don't get touched by the Zombots. He's like, cowards run, I win. I'm like, bro, how hard are you about to job right now? You sound like fucking Vegeta. Like, are you for real, man? Like, what?
It's like, and it gets worse and worse as time goes on. And because Shadow did not fucking listen, when he completely misunderstanding, it's not retreating, it's basically self-sustaining. He could have ran and burned off the infection just like Sonic, but he just did a little funny misunderstanding. And
yeah, dude, he doesn't run, okay? He doesn't run. I
want to at least give a little bit of credence here to like some in-universe logic. Of course, Shadow's the ultimate life form. In the lore, he's designed to not be able to contract diseases. So I assume in his mind, he thinks, I'm a fucking immune to the metal virus anyway. What does it fucking matter? I can go hand to hand. It doesn't fucking matter. I can't contract it.
Listen, it would be different if it was stated. But the problem is that everything around it is fucking horrible.
It does look bad. It does look really bad. And this is no means to say on Ian either, obviously. And I actually do have a note to point out here. This actually was not how Ian originally intended it to end. Someone asked him at a con, what was the deal with that, basically? And he said originally, that scene was supposed to be Shadow to go all out, remove his inhibitor rings, and release chaos energy to burn the infection off, but it would backfire and actually speed up the infection, which then would have turned him. Which is not that much better, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Okay, so like, we've talked about, like, character mandates, right? We've discussed it. But if you ever want to see why these mandates, which are now gradually being removed, thankfully, why these mandates are harmful, this entire comic is your fucking, like, they took the character that arguably had some of the most interesting development in the comic, or in the previous comic, right? And I know we're not supposed to call back to Archie, but it's so hard when it's just right there. You know?
Yeah, and like I said, like, this is not on Ian. I don't blame him. That man, Ian wrote Peak Shadow. We saw it. We applauded him for it. I do not want to blame him. I don't know how farther I should go with this, but let's just say that Ian has gone on the record to say that this kind of, well, not this in particular, was like a last straw. But he did say that Sega really needs to loosen up with Shadow's mandates. Otherwise, I don't want to write them. You're making it too difficult to work with.
I mean, listen, you know, there really is no other way that this gets fixed. Shadow's mandates have to loosen. And listen, with Sonic Movie 3 on the horizon, you can't hide from SA2's story. You can't. And I think, listen, the team is learning. There is hope, but we have to see it. And that's why I feel like this comic specifically is so relevant to right now, more than ever. This is the lowest the character ever gets, and that is saying something. In Shadow, we have fucking Shadow Android, and MI, and Android 2, and like all that shit, and like genocidal maniac Shadow. Like, listen, man. All I'm gonna say is, this shit is horrible, and it's not Ian's fault. It's not. It's mandates and bullshit. So please keep that in mind when you think about this comic. It is not Ian's fault. Blame the fucking mandates. This shit dumb. Fuck's sake.
Well, hey, look, if Frontiers is anything to go by, and also Prime's writing as well, which, you know, it is canon as well, there is a better future on the horizon. I think this is a low point, but thankfully when you hit the low, you can only go up from here. I hope.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think we are due for the uplift for Shadow. So, with that being said, we're not going to dwell on this for much longer. I mean, you heard our fucking little rant about it. So, let's move on to Sonic the Hedgehog issue 20.
20.
We're in issue fucking 20, man.
Look at us go. IDW going on strong. You'll love to see it.
Yeah.
Flynn writing and Jack Lawrence once again doing the art. We start at the end of the last issue. Sonic's pinned on the truck. He thought that, oh, you know, maybe Shadow could have overpowered the Zombots and thought, you know, maybe he could have burned the infection off. I can't wait to tell you that I told you so, man. If you don't crush my windpipe first. This leads Sonic to grapple his way out of his grip and has to spin Nash away. And Sonic thinks, well, Shadow would have seen that coming, so he's not at 100%. That's good. But Zombot Shadow plus a billion others, not so good. So Sonic engages with Zombot Shadow. They're grappling each other. He hits up high with a homing attack. Shadow ends up grappling him and then goes low with a spin dash to the ground and unfurls to use the momentum to kick Shadow away. And with the funny brawl taunt, you're too slow. Great. Love that.
Yes. Very, very cute. Sonic is a bit worried now, exhausted as well, saying that there's no way he can keep up with this and protect his truckload of uninfected sitting right there. Sonic calling out to Rouge and asking if everyone's loaded up. Rouge confirming that they just finished. And Sonic telling him to get the hell out of there. Rouge books it, smashing through a horde of Zombots as Sonic is surrounded by a bunch of Zombats, trying to figure out how he's gonna fight a whole city solo. Before Giga Chad Omega drops in, causing an impact crater in his wake.
Sonic's like, oh, wow, thanks for sticking behind. But Omega says, I'm not here for you. Eggman's robots remain. This must be corrected. Violently. Well, that's help all the same, and they both dive in, with Omega's urge to maim rising. Sonic sees that Zombot Shadow has noticed the truck of survivors and is running after it. And when he chases him, he notices he's not moving as fast because he doesn't know how to use his rocket shoes, but he's still faster than the average Zombot, so I'm gonna have to bring you back to the party. And tries to grapple Shadow, but he throws Sonic off. Thrown back in the crowd toward Omega, he sees Sonic's infection is spreading, and that you fighting the Zombots is making it worse, and leads him, you gotta go. But Sonic doesn't want to leave another friend behind, to which Omega says, we are not friends. You're in the way of my massacre. But, you know, you can't destroy the Zombots, so instead of wasting ammo, how about you and me both get out of here? but Omega will not relent.
No retreat, no mercy. This motherfucker is committed. Shadow goes for a lunging attack at him. Omega grabs his ass midair and slams him to the ground.
Sonic's like, dude, what are you doing? That's Shadow. But Omega says, no, this is another Eggman robot. Sonic's like, all right, man, this is out of control. Omega's not giving up his rampage, and then we see Shadow clawing into Omega's chassis and just tears his fucking wiring out of his body. And that's a little too late, as Sonic's infection continues to spread as Shadow has pinned him down. Just as, miraculously, the Zombots are floating and are gloating cyan. Silver and Tails have arrived. Silver makes a path for Sonic to book it, and Tails tells him the tornado was parked outside the city. Just meet us there. Sonic, looking real winded, gives a thumbs up and books. So Tails tells Silver, drop the Zombots while I go for Omega, so cover me. Tails swoops in, grabs Omega, to which we see Omega, a little more lightweight.
Yeah, so Omega's body has been completely torn off as he remarks to Tails, observation, you are strong to lift all my mass so effortlessly.
And Tails cannot bring himself to say that his body was destroyed and only his head remained.
Shadow, however, decides to go for a lunge at Silver, who narrowly dodges as quickly as possible. Tails suggesting that they leave as Shadow is left completely in the hordes. Sonic is now at Restoration HQ, waiting outside, looking at himself, sighing as the destruction is all around him. Sombering note, you know, especially when you consider that that little convo with Shadow maybe is weighing on his head a bit.
That's not even the end of that, folks. A door opens out the building by Cream. She's gonna lead him inside. As they walk in, Sonic quips to her that's past her bedtime, which she says, yeah, it is, but, you know, Mom let me stay up to help. Plus, she admits she's been having a lot of bad dreams lately, thinking about cheese and chocolate.
Yeah, very, very wild.
They see over a hangar. Sonic and Cream have seen the room is filled with refugees and not a lot of room for them. Everyone's been scared and sad lately, but Cream says she's been bringing snacks and sweets for everyone to try to cheer them up. Feels like if she can keep her own spirits up, hopefully it can spread to the others as well. To which Sonic just looks at her solemnly, says that she really is the bravest hero here. Keep up the good work. Then that kind of hits a little hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, the look Sonic has is one of, like, he's smiling, but he's also like, oh god, how did the fuck did we get here? Right? He's not feeling it.
Yeah, it's heavy shit.
Yeah. Cream directs Sonic to Amy's office as he meets Gemerald, and he promptly denies him entry. Cream saying, be nice to him. Gemerald saying, Sonic is infected. He is a biohazard to the Restoration's administrator.
But Cream reminds him, Amy asked to talk with him specifically, let him in. And Gemerald accepts the order as Sonic goes in, telling Cream goodnight, but pokes his head back out to Gemerald to say that considering this is a metal virus, I'm more of a mecha hazard. Acknowledging under sass. You do that.
Sonic walks into Amy on the headset. She's not having a good time right now.
Yeah. She's on comms directing Echo 5 Cascade City. Echo 7, get that air dry supply through. So when Sonic sees Rouge at the computer, asks, you playing secretary? To which she says, no, I'm planning the next move. What about Shadow? To which he says, Shadow's gone. Sorry. And Rouge just kind of clicks her tongue and walks away. The idiot should have run when I told him to. Yeah.
Sonic says hi to Amy, asking to see mainly if he was okay.
Yeah, he's fine enough, let's say.
Yeah, saying that, I'm still standing. I'd like a nice 3-week nap, though. How are you? Amy quickly responding that, she's not sure how much longer she can before, say again, Echo 11, what? We'll try to keep a low profile. Echo 3, Echo 13, Echo 11 went down on Turtle Shell Island. They need immediate support. Echo 3, do you copy? Has anyone heard from Echo 3? Sonic is looking extremely guilty during all of this before leaving, head down, and his eyes just, you could start to see that his face is like it's cracking almost, right? Like he is very emotionally fucked up by this.
I kind of wish that there was another panel where we had like a close-up zoom-in shot of Sonic's like distraught face have like the like miasma effect. I don't know what you'd call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's very clear that like the one thing that's being very heavily shown is that, yeah, this guy is he's starting to fade, and this is not something we get to see from Sonic often. Sonic does not get to be put into scenarios where he looks like he's very, very stressed.
And against the wall too, most importantly.
Yeah, it's hey, listen, sometimes these mandates suck, but I mean, hey, when they get to do stuff like this, it's always good.
Oh yeah. Well, when he leaves the room in the hallway, he meets Espio and Vector. They're waking up from their sleeping shifts, and they're gonna head out to find supplies. And if we're lucky, maybe we can find Charmy too and secure him. Though Sonic doesn't think it's safe to bring Charmy in here, but Espio notes they let you in. But Sonic insists on being careful. Though Espio then asks, when's the last time you slept? Sonic says it has been, a while. I can really afford short naps, otherwise the infection will spread, and, he lets them leave. Tails asks to see him about the plan, so be safe out there, boys, and they wish him the same. So when Sonic arrives at Tails' lab, where he and Silver are working some plans, Sonic thanks Silver for his work back there. I owe you one, buddy. Although Silver thinks, actually, the Count is now too. Well, Sonic then asks, when you returned from the future, Silver, you said everything was all metallic. Was it the metal virus? And Silver says, yeah, I think it is now. And since I'm here, I can help save the world and change the future. But, very important, Silver says he did not see any Zombots, or anyone for that matter. But hopefully that's a mystery we won't need to solve. Pin in that.
Yes, very clear pin in that. Meanwhile, Sonic goes over to Omega, who is now simply a little head, as he asks, hey, how's it hanging, man? He says, core processor and operating system intact. Rage operating at 110 capacity.
So, are we gonna rebuild him? Sonic asks, but Tails says, well, Eggman tech is notoriously weird. I could probably build something compatible and just stick his head onto it. With the right time and supplies, of course. To which then Omega requests Tails build a jaw mechanism for his new body. I want to bite the Zombot's ankles off. I'll keep that in mind. Sonic asks Progress, what do we think about the virus, Tails? And he says, well, honestly, our previous analysis was not enough, but I have a plan. Tails says Sonic's natural speed can fight back against the virus, but not completely. You can delay it, though. So, here's a little sensor for you, Sonic. Attach it to your wrist. I'm going to read your biometrics while you run, and hopefully we can figure out how the virus is reacting to you. Unfortunately, the computers here can't handle that kind of data. His lab in Central City can do it, assuming Eggman has not attacked there yet. It's gonna be dicey to do analysis there, though, but Silver offers to go cover him. But they ask, what if you're needed elsewhere, man? And Silver's just look, let's just hope it doesn't come to that, okay? But, Sonic tries to keep a smile on his face, keep being optimistic. I'll go on the run, I'll get you your data. And Tails will take it to process to get a cure. Silver remains hopeful that the future is as good as saved.
Meanwhile, on the Eggman Flying Fortress, the face ship, Dr. Starline is, distraught, to say the least. I hate to admit this, but Eggman has no plan to control the metal virus. We're scheduled to test override signals tomorrow, but Eggman has overlooked or forgotten so many of his assets. Perhaps there's something he used in the past that can help us? As Starline stumbles upon the Lost World Project.
Uh-oh.
Oh. I found the hidden planetoid of Lost Hex and made it the base of my latest scheme. Using an ancient relic, I took control of the Lost Hex natives, the Zeti, and made them my enforcers. Then that meddlesome Sonic arrived and ruined everything. He stupidly liberated my Deadly Six, and they took total control of my robots with their electromagnetic powers. Oh, a race of beings that can will robots into obedience? Yes. Why find a way to control millions when we can just shepherd them all with 6?
And in doing so, Starline starts a ripple effect that makes everything go from bad to worse to, oh Jesus Christ, you probably should die, dude.
Yeah, can we get the It's Always Sunny Starline ruins everything along with the title card?
That's what's happening right now. So, Ian, I shake your hand for coming up with the most insane ways to just make it go worse. I kind of respect that, actually.
So I do think it's fair to talk about the fact that I don't know if this is an Ian thing or if this was something that was requested by Sega, but there was a push, let's call it that, push to get the Deadly Six as more integral characters into Sonic's lore. The problem with that is that the Deadly Six kind of fucking suck.
Yeah, they are the most one-note villains to have ever exist. And, like, to be fair, I think I remember when we interviewed Ian, I asked him something along those lines, and he was like, no, Sega didn't request anything. This was all, all his idea. Which, hey, you know what? All right, Ian, you think there's something here? I will #trust the plan. I'll go along with your ride.
I think, like, and again, we've read these. Like, I do think the implementation is really good. Like, don't get me wrong. It's the best that he could possibly do with them. But the issue is more so with the Deadly Six than the implementation. They're just...
very bland,
yeah,
very basic, very simplistic. It's, you know what it is? I thought about this like a long time ago, but I think I know what the issue is here with the Deadly Six and why the fans are, what's the word? Not problematic, that's not the right word, but why they have like an issue with Zavok in particular constantly returning. Zavok meets the fucking requirements of a Sonic villain. That's just like a one-shot villain. You don't expect it to come back. Let's go. Let's see, what can I think of here? Mephiles, for example. Black Doom, another example. These are characters that exist in very specific stories, and you don't ever really expect to see them come back. Infinite is another example, too.
Oh, okay. But I'll say this, right? Mephiles and Infinite, I would say, do have potential. Like, I like Mephiles because he is more, like, schemy and sort of, like, he's always cooking up some shit to try and make things go from bad to worse, and he's, like, he's playing chess, is the best way I can describe it, and I kind of like that about him. Infinite needed more development. Infinite could have been a very interesting character study about, like what power does and like how power corrupts and like the feeling of being weak in a world where others are stronger than you, and like sort of like the maybe like Darwinian survival of the fittest sort of deal that they want to lean into this, right? Like if you look at like the prequel comics, that's sort of what they're going for. Zavok is, I am Bowser from Super Mario Brothers with zero charisma. Fear me, grrr. Like this motherfucker is the most nothing character. He is so boring. He is so lame.
But that's what I mean, is that he fits all the requirements for this one-shot villain who only should ever appear once and then never be thought of again. Yet they keep bringing him back.
Yeah, like Black Doom, at least is intertwined to Shadow's backstory. For better or worse, but at least his stuff is like in the realm of like what we like sort of care about as Sonic fans. Zavok, like what is there to care about with this character? Nothing. There is nothing here. I think that like he just needs to go away forever. Nobody fucking likes this character. I get why they're using him in this arc and they're using the Deadly Six, but like fuck, man. These guys are so boring.
Like I said, I trust the plan. I'm gonna see what Ian's gonna cook up. Let's just roll with it. So, Sonic the Hedgehog number 21. Ian Flynn Roden. Are there 4 fucking artists here? What the fuck happened here?
There's something.
Lamar Wells, Reggie Graham, Jennifer Hernandez, and Priscilla Tramontano all worked on the art here. Okay, what happened? How are there 4 artists here? Like, don't get me wrong. The art style for this issue is consistent, so it doesn't look off when you go from one page to another, but like, what happened here?
Yeah, it's most reminiscent of Jennifer Hernandez's style, but it just feels, it's very weird that there are 4 of these people working on the single issue, right?
Yeah.
Very strange.
But we do have 2 new names to look at here. Reggie Graham. So he's another Sonic fan who turned out to be a creative on the series. His original start in the community, he did art for Sonic the Comic Online, which is very cool. Love that.
That's very cute, actually. Good for him. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, he's living the dream, honestly. For IDW in particular, he mainly does coloring and cover art, such as with Rise of the TMNT and Transformers comics.
I've seen some of those cover arts. They're absolutely amazing. So, hey, hats off to you, Reggie. You're fucking killing it right now, man. Good for you.
And for Priscilla Tramontano, she's based in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and she's got actually a lot of credits, most notably for Nickelodeon. She was a product designer for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and did vector cleanup for Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, Tramontano, I thank you for your service.
Holy shit. All right, well, we're being blessed with some good stuff here.
Oh, yeah. And for IDW in particular, she does interiors and cover art for Transformers, G.I. Joe, TMNT, among many others. Like I said, thank you for your service, Tramontano.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into it. We open in Central City by Tails' workshop, starting 1 hour ago, as the face ship drops another vat of metal virus trying to cure Rush Hour. Tails says, we gotta get downtown, and before Whisper says, no, stay. Tangle saying, hey, you got the important job of researching cure, we'll handle the evacuation.
Yeah, the girls have become a good team in their own right anyway. And so now, catch up to the present. And also for the record, issue 21, 22, and 23 all take place in the same time frame. So if you're taking notes, jot that down, all right?
So Tails is peeking out a window as a horde of zombies walk through the neighborhood before almost being spotted and sinking down deep, saying, darn it, Silver, why'd you have to jinx it? Silver is not here to protect Tails.
My man Silver's catching strays, SMH. So he hears a call from Sonic coming in. Sonic says he's outside a barricade down getting his data. Everything going okay on your end? Yeah, yes, and very much no. The data's coming in from your scanner well, but Eggman just dumped metal virus onto the town. So he offers to go to Central City, but Tails tells him keep running. Your data is necessary. Plus, in case anything happens, it can be a backup. So he calls it out, stay safe. So call ends, and then Tails hears a crashing sound which scares him, but sees from his cameras that a Zombot just tripped over his trash can. Tails lets Sonic go to call the Restoration HQ. Amy asks how's the cure coming along, and he says, well, pretty slowly. I need to keep over my shoulder looking for Zombots, and Amy offers to send shuttles now, but Tails says, look, I don't know if they're needed yet, and he's been honed in on my research, so Amy just tells the pilots, start prepping to head out. So Tails calms out and calls Tangle and Whisper, how are you guys doing? Well, Tangle says it's the usual skin of their teeth, running, screaming, panic, etc. This would be cool if it wasn't so, horrible and awful, right? And gets spooked by a Zombot coming to her back and jumps up to a lamppost. We got people going to the docks, so we need to get that cure fast, buddy. Well, Tails just slumps into his chair, says, yeah, sure, I'll let Amy know where to send the shuttles to. So now he's out of calls to make, and Tails look at his files. He was able to synthesize the metal virus. It is a machine that looks and acts like a real virus. Sonic's natural speed deteriorates it, but how? Can we apply it to others? And I can't risk the vaccine being too weak or only partially effective. So he looks out the window. There are puddles of the pure virus outside. Man, if I just could get a sample of that, it would make things so much easier. And so, Tails decides to risk it. He flies outside, no Zombots nearby, and takes a vacuum to the roof and gets spooked by some Zombot flickies flying over her head, but he ends up extending the grabber. The vacuum sucks up the virus, and now he's got a sample ready to go for the miracle cure. And, unknown to him in the background, Zombot Cheese and Chocola are spying on him.
I see. Meanwhile, we cut to the Zeddy Castle in Lava Mountain Zone in Lost Hex. As Zor, the edgy, emo, depressive Zeddy, and Zavok are communicating, wondering what's going on the world below. It's not very pretty. Zavok saying, which suits you just fine, I'm sure. Before Starline cues in with, it doesn't suit me, however.
Zavok sees him, demands to know who he is, and says, my name is Dr. Starline, Dr. Eggman's lead assistant, and this is a call to action for your services once again. Zavok is intrigued with the phrasing, my services. Starline pulls on his collar nervously, says, well, you Deadly Six have the skills needed to assist the doctor contain a certain issue. To which Zavok asks, were you sent by the man himself? To which he admits, I'm here in an unofficial capacity. Better to ask forgiveness than permission at this point. So he asks, what do we Deadly Six gain out of this? Which Starline says, well, look, here's what you get. An opportunity to make amends with the doctor, plus the opportunity to take out Sonic the Hedgehog. An offer, Zavok says, we cannot refuse. So, Starlight takes it that they're on board. I will be in touch soon. I have some other business to attend. He leaves behind portal closes. Zor figures he just made a big mistake, Starline did, which Zavok says this mistake will be used to their advantage. Go get the others.
Somebody's getting fucked!
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's such a fucking moron. Holy shit.
Then back in Central City, Tangle is whipping around a lamppost to distract the Zombots, and it is working, but one of them starts bending it down towards the ground, but she's quickly saved by Whisper, firing her laser wisp on to spread the Zombots out. So she gets behind her as she swaps to a rocket mode and fires an explosion on the Horde. Well, Tangle then tries to call the restoration for ETA on the backup. Amy, Cream, Vector, anybody? No call. It's a little spooky. So she calls Silver. Do you think you can lend us a hand? But he says he's got his hand full. There's an outbreak at Ice Paradise, and the whole place is on fire. There's a badumtition there, I guess.
Yeah, you know.
So the girls are on their own. Tangle sees Whisper's whips are starting to get winded, but Whisper says they are pure energy when they're fired out of the wisp spawn. Unfortunately, they get ambushed by a horde, leading Whisper to switch to hover, and the wisp spawn lifts her and Tangle up to a rooftop, and they stick the landing. Unfortunately, they're pretty far away from the rendezvous point, so Whisper tells Tangle, call Tails and check in on him. We then move to see him. He's using the metal virus sample to run some real-time models using Sonic speed data, and he is able to not only synthesize a vaccine and a reversal of the contagion. Tails, our boy, has made the cure for the metal virus. Massive W to our boy. Let's go.
Yeah, he's doing it, guys. He's doing it. You know, he's just going to hit that upload button. He's going to restore to Restoration HQ, and he'll come back up, right? The nightmare will finally be over. Woohoo! Way to go before...
Power goes out.
Tails is tapping the computer as we cut to a panel of Cheese and Chocola destroying the electricity. Tails is getting a little nervous, saying, don't panic, just grab the server blades, I can plug them into headquarters, and before a Zombot breaks in, and Tails crashes the server blade on the floor, breaking it.
Ugh.
Oh no.
Oh no. So Tails, he's clearly distressed, trying to hold back tears. He heads to his garage, cracks the door open, and spin dashes inside. As the Zombots are trying to break in, he blasts through the door. The Zombot Short chasing behind him in his tornado mover from Adventure 2. Man, this would be really cool if this was not a stressful situation.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking based, I'm not gonna lie. He says, I had it, I was so close, and I can't blame you, as he busts out the front door of his house, walks and pivots off Cheese and Chocola before transforming into car mode and blazing through the streets. Tangle
and Whisper call him. They let him know they're moving to the docks, but Tails meets them in the car, crashing through Zombots on the way. Tails says he'll back him up. Get moving. Tangle's on it, and I want to turn at driving that, alright?
Tangle and Whisper corral people into the ship as Tails fires off his laser to keep more of the Zombots off at bay before the ship takes off, and Tails realizes that he has to say goodbye. Thank you for all your hard work. You deserved better. As the Tornado 2 explodes into flames.
Press F to pay respects.
Yeah.
So it destructs, he explodes, and Tails flies himself up into the shuttle and looks at Amy. Why did only one shuttle come? And Amy says, we're the only ones that made it out. Restoration HQ has fallen, along with everyone inside.
It just keeps getting worse.
Also, I do want to point something out. In the very back, there's some characters designed to look like Adrian and Marionette from Miraculous Ladybug. That's a cute cameo, I guess.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very cute little cameo for sure.
And actually, Christina V, who voices Marionette, she found that cameo quite recently and was like, hey, I love that.
That's good. Yeah, this is getting very fucked very quickly. And, you know, I think we should just move right in to see how bad things got at Restoration HQ.
Yep. Sonic 22, Flynn writing, and Tramontano doing solo duty for the art. So, turn back the time a little bit. Amy's in Restoration HQ taking account for everyone. Tails is in Central City working on the cure. Tangle and Whisper are doing support and evac. Sonic is running around Barricade Town getting his data. Silver is handling Ice Paradise. Espio and Vector just came back with refugees from Pine Grove Village, and Rouge is still MIA. Amy just looks up at the map above her and realizes she's been talking to himself for a little too long and just slumps in her chair, right as Kareem comes in with tea and Sonic-shaped cookies. It's break time.
What do I get? 5 minutes? Weeks? Years? This motherfucker, she's so done with this shit.
In fact, she even asks Kareem, how do you do it? And she says, well, these cookies are my mom's secret recipe. And it's like, no. You're sunny and your upbeat attitude. Like, what is it? And Kareem says, well, I've been still having these bad dreams. I'm not sleeping very well, but I know my mom is scared too, and so is everyone else in here. And she says as Amy's tearing up, and so is Kareem as well, I need to be as brave as Cheese was. Put the biggest smile on and share it with everybody. Yo, I did not have Kareem character development on the bingo sheet, bro.
Listen, man. All right, I need this. I need it. Listen, listen. Creep gets a bad rap. All right, she's just a little bunny girl. All right, man. Like, dude, like if you want to take her in this direction, do it. She's trying her fucking hardest, man. That's why she's kind of based. She's kind of raw. She's kind of goated.
Yeah, there's good potential here. There's a lot of good potential here, Sega. I'm just saying.
Yeah, could do a little time skipperoo and just age her up and make her more of a hero. That's what I'm saying, man.
Kareem's resolve moves Amy to tears. Kareem finishes saying that, she and Sonic and everyone saved the day before, and you guys are going to do it again. So I'm not going to be sad when I know everything will be okay. And Amy brings in Kareem for a hug. Thanks, her. You're the hero I needed right now.
Adorable.
Kareem serves Amy her tea, plain, she says, just needs to stay awake, just as Tails calls in a panic.
Oh no. So now we cut to the Lost Hex. Zavok has gathered the Deadly Six. Zor, Zomom, Xena, Master Zik, and Zaz, and Zavok. Okay, guys, I got all their names. I see. I'm a real Sonic Lost World truther. I can't even. Nah, dude, that game Garbo.
Eggman was kind of raw in that one scene, though, so at least it's not completely, cringeworthy.
Yeah, I guess.
So Zavok tells the group, Eggman's newest pansy invited us to his base to fix his situation on the planet below. We will accept their hospitality and punish them for it. Though Xena thinks this could be another trap and does not want to go through with it, but Zavok kind of threatens her, reminds her, we were unprepared for Eggman last time, but this time we will make him pay for our embarrassment, and we can take out Sonic in the process and grind their world to dust in retribution. So back at HQ, Amy thanks Kareem for the snacks and asks to get back to work. So Kareem heads out of the room to see a hangar full of refugees, everyone shoulder to shoulder, people complaining about the small space, and Big's in the crowd looking for Froggy as well. Oh boy, that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story for sure.
Kareem looks down and is pretty saddened to see the state people are in, but she hears Vector's voice and he's shouting, back off, Mac! This Unix designation is not Mac, it is Gemeral. Here's a little situation. Vector and Espio found Zombot Charmy and are holding him in an egg prison. They brought him in because they refused Charmy to be abandoned, especially after we all went through to grab him. But obviously, Gemeral sees him as a threat to Kareem's health. Must be removed. But Vector shouts, the Chaotix are not abandoning their own. I'll have an easier time without you breathing down my neck. This unit does not breathe. You know what I mean!
This man, Madge. He is Madge.
So Kareem has to fly down to Gemeral, asking if he remembers about their conversation. He does, and he understands that Charmy is a victim, but Kareem knows Vector and Espio are going to take care of Charmy. Espio adds that they plan to keep him in Tails' lab, next to Omega, where he will be immediately accessible once Tails finds the cure. A plan which Gemeral is willing to accept. But Kareem also says to him, don't be discouraged when you learn to think like us one day. Illogically and self-destructive? No. So we see some people, they're talking, some stragglers. There's one covering himself in a blanket, just looking for a place to sit, and someone comes up to him and starts talking. This guy says he just got here from Pine Grove, and this girl's been here from a while from Glass Hill. She says Eggman never came to Glass Hill, but Zombots just arrived to her town, and now here I am. And this guy in the blanket looks like he's starting to shrivel up, and she looks at him like, hey man, are you okay? And he says, look, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to be alone.
As he takes, he's getting infected. Oh, the situation is continuing to escalate as he becomes a Zombot, and the crowds of people run.
We can check that off the list of tropes for zombie plots as well, too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Vector is trying to move through the crowd before he gets pushed. General picking up Cream, and the glass containment unit breaks, causing Charmy to come out. Oh, no. SVO quickly runs and presses the emergency alarm. Oh no. Nightmare.
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 So Amy knows what's going on. She calls the pilots, ready the shuttles. HQ has been compromised. We need full evac. Just as the first Zombot crashes through the wall fighting General, Amy is able to swat them off. They're okay, but infection rate, General says, is 10% and growing exponentially. I cannot contain the active Zombots. Amy tries to order General to get Omega and get to the launch bay, scan anyone who tries to get through as well. However, he's refusing. My primary objective is to protect Cream. But Amy reminds him, you're the fastest one in here right now. We need Tails to rebuild Omega so he can protect everyone. I'll find Cream and bring her to you. That's something General can accept, and flies out.
Amy then looks down at the hordes of people being turned into Zombots as she gets very pissed very quickly, slams the ground with her Pico hammer, causing a shockwave, screaming at Cream that they've got to go. But she's crying her eyes out as her mom has been touched by one of the Zombots. She says, please, Miss Rose, get my little girl to safety, as Amy starts bawling and uses another Pico hammer jump to take Cream away as Vanilla is consumed by the horde. Cream crying out to go back. What the fuck, man? You see this shit? You see this shit right here? This is fucked.
Hey, Ian, you good, man? Are you good?
Nah, bro, he's not good. He's not good, bro. Everyone's gotta suffer. Everyone's gotta fucking suffer.
Cream is struggling the whole way through to the hangar. General scans them, you're clean, and Cream's still begging to go back to her mom. But Amy turns around to see the shuttle. Espio says only one guy made it out. Not many refugees made it out clean either. So Amy leads Cream inside, take a seat, she'll be back, and walks with Espio to sit down. General scans everyone inside the room. Everyone is infected to some degree. Just as he and Vector are about to close the door, Charmy slips out and is about to get into the shuttle, leading Vector to sacrifice himself. Grabs Charmy, holds him down to Espio's shock. General can tell Vector is infected. You must be quarantined. And he goes back in willingly. And he goes in to hold the Zombots that are trying to get out. And just before General closes the door, his last words are, Espio, you're lead detective now. And General slams the door.
The look on Espio's face is nothing short of stunned silence.
So Espio, he's on his knees in tears. Amy's shocked, and General reminds them Vector is very strong, and as a Zombot, he's going to break down the doors. We have to go. And they help Espio up as he says, we gotta go. Roger. The shuttle flies out to Central City to get the refugees and meet with Tangle, Whisper, and Tails. And Amy tells them HQ has fallen to the Zombots. And unfortunately, Tails' cure has been trashed by the Zombots. So our only hope now is that Sonic comes back with the data analyzer intact. And just then, Tangle gets a call from her panicking friend, Jewel.
Oh boy.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, so when we talked about how fucked up Archie got,
yeah, this makes it look like a joke in comparison.
I think the real reason why it works is that every sacrifice and every interaction feels more and more and more and more hopeless. Like things are breaking down so fast after these little bumps of hope, and they just keep.
It feels like, we make one step forward and we're making 3 steps back.
Nah, bro, more like 5, maybe 10 in some cases. But yeah, it continually, the escalation is what makes this so effective. Now, there is something to be said about reading this when it came out. There was a complaint in the community that the pacing was too slow. However, comics are meant to be read in arcs. And I think for what Metal Virus is attempting to do, it's very elongated intentionally to really make the core points about what it's trying to say, about how Sonic's very brash decision, if you'd like to call it brash, has now condemned the world to a nightmare.
Yeah, and again, that is supposed to be the core theme of this arc, I guess, if you want to think of it like that, is that consequences of your actions. And even though that, Sonic was doing a good thing back then to keep Eggman as Mr. Tinker and, do some community service if you want to think of it like that, but I'm going to put a pin in that. I'll come back to that later once we get past a certain issue. Now we're just going to move right along in to IDW Sonic number 23, Flynn writing and Jack Lawrence doing the art.
Yeah, we have some shit. Things continue to get worse. I wonder how they can get even worser.
We open on Sonic calling Tails just outside of Barricade Town. The thunderstorm is rolling in. He says he's getting his data in just fine, and Tails relays him the situation in Central City. And again, Sonic offers to go help, but Tails tells him just keep running. This data will be the key in the end, and having your backup as your wrist, that'll be helpful too. So Tails lets him go, the two wish each other well, and once again, Sonic is left alone. But Sonic feels as if it's different this time, feels lonely.
So, something important to note here is Sonic's facial expressions are continuing to degrade, and he continues to look more and more and more and more fucked up, obviously as a result of the fact that he is watching all of his friends disappear, and he is also watching everything he knows and loves be basically turned to nothing. He's starting to snap a little, and it's pretty wild.
It's not pretty, folks. Sonic ends up finding Barricade Town. It feels like it was just yesterday he and Knuckles saved the town from Rough and Tumble's extortion racket, and now those two are Zombots at the bottom of a mine. But the town's gates have been broken, so the town did end up falling to the metal virus. So Sonic wants to go check for survivors, but what if he can even find any? He can't carry anyone to safety. If a Zombot gets a lucky hit, we lose Tails' gizmo and all the data gets lost. So what's right? Save a few people now or keep running to save everyone in the long run? Very interesting point to make and kind of put up in front,
Yeah, it's very clear that Sonic, after his act of kindness, is starting to doubt himself quite a lot. Ironic, then, that Sonic takes a big old peek over the wall and spies Dr. Eggman.
Oh god. Yeah, he and Starline are over the town, and they're trying to test frequencies to control the Zombots. They're on radio frequency 141.12. On that one, Eggman tries to order everyone to look eastward. No results. Starline tries the next band of 13, but Eggman says, no, stop. This is tedious. We should have rigged something automatic to play from the face ship. But Starline reminds him wideband broadcast had no effect, so localized tight band was the next best thing. That's what we agreed to. But then Eggman snaps at Starline, don't get snippy with me. If you're gonna ride my coattails, you better have my back. Starline says, hey, look, I'm just saying it'd be better to have a failsafe. It would have been better to have a failsafe for the metal virus mutating beyond his control.
This motherfucker's starting to get mad. He's really starting to get mad. Eggman brings up a good point, saying, is it really my fault when my creations exceed my expectations? Maybe we're going about this the wrong way. What about your special gemstone? The Warp Topaz. Indeed, you're able to warp space and time to create portals with just a small electrical charge. Imagine what I could do if I hooked it up to the Chaos Emeralds aboard the face ship. To which Starline replies, absolutely not. When I found it, the Warp Topaz responded strongly to even the most passive of energy waves. In my early experiments, anything above a light controlled charge resulted in extreme reality alteration. It can be a useful tool when used properly, but what you're proposing is exceedingly dangerous.
But Eggman does not care, saying, it'll be fine, we'll be cautious. But then Starline kind of snaps. What do you mean cautious? You've yet to even inoculate us from the metal virus. And then Eggman drops a little bombshell.
Shows what you know, there is no vaccine! Starline is... But how you were going to protect us from the infections? By not touching the Zombots. Duh. So, we'll get into it in a second.
So Starline's kind of rattling off hypotheticals. Well, what if there was a spill in the face ship or a mishap in the field? What if it mutates and becomes airborne? But Eggman stops him. Hey, my threshold for nitpicking has been exceeded. But Starline says, this is not nitpicking. I am asking common sense questions. Leading Eggman to say, you shut your bill or I'll staple it shut.
Yeah, so, welcome to the, the honeymoon being over as, Sonic pops up on top of the wall, tapping his foot in, pretty deep anger. Eggman remarks him as Patient Zero, before Sonic quickly says, I'm gonna skip the man. You're gonna tell me right here, right now. Why did you do it? What? I've been trying to take over the world for years. You know that. You've been underfoot the entire time. I mean, going back to the mad scientist shtick. Sure, Dr. Fashion Disaster, that's a good way to put it. Over there gave you back your memories, but you chose to go back to your old ways. What was wrong with being like Mr. Tinkerer? That's not who I am. Not be him, be like him. Oh, what? You want me to be a charitable goody two-shoes, fixing doorknobs and building toys, living on grateful smiles, listening to children's laughter day in, day out, making things people need and use. And then Eggman looks directly at the viewer with a odd look on his face.
I called it wistful.
Yeah, something is still in there. And I think that's a really interesting kind of thing to bring up, that maybe there is just a little bit of Eggman's, like, inner self that kind of does want that life. I think Starline has obviously the opposite reaction of Sonic. Sonic is smiling as he's like, wait, still in there, right? He can feel it, he can hear it. The Starline is just in pure disgust. Like, this is that's the worst thing I've ever heard. You know?
Yeah, and it's interesting that we go in this angle because here we go again, back to Archie. We know that we've seen in the past that the Eggman that was presented in that comic was like a pretty brutal, ruthless dictator who has no shot of redemption in any capacity. But this is IDW. This is the world of the games. The world where Eggman and Sonic have teamed up on multiple occasions for the greater good. In my opinion, maybe it's situations like that where Sonic understands, no, there is good in this guy. If he's capable of understanding what a greater good is, he understands what good is. And therefore, we can pull something out of there.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, Archie Eggman the motherfucker was casually killing people and roboticizing them en masse, without a care in the world. Robo-Robotnik tripled down on that. He raised an entire city to capture every single Mobian in there to turn into living energy. He does not care about people at all. And it's always been made very explicitly clear that any team up between Sonic and Eggman is the most temporary of temporary truces in that comic. And they barely, if ever, happened. The two were always pitted against each other. But yeah, in this world, in the world of the games, there is good in Eggman. It's very clear. Even as he's trying to do horrible things, he never goes far enough, is the right word to put it, right?
Yeah, that, and also, I remember when this issue came out, there was a little bit of discourse about Ian going in this direction with Eggman's character, because there were some people who, I'll be kind in saying, they misinterpreted the point. In that, saying that, oh, this was supposed to be like character development for Eggman that Sega would never allow, but that's not what's happening here. This is not character development, this is character depth.
Yes, this is expanding on Eggman and the virtuous nature that he did show as Mr. Tinkerer, and in the times where he has teamed up with Sonic. Eggman is a megalomaniac. He wants to control the world, he wants to destroy things, he wants to rule everything, but he is also not somebody who would sacrifice the lives of millions for the sake of it. That's the difference. He's a horrible person, but there is good inside of that horrible person.
In that, Eggman thinks about what he just said and said, that was a relaxing life, but I'm doing something much better here, bringing peace and unity to the world, and providing it with my brilliant guidance. No, you're not. I agree to disagree. And then it leads into this back and forth with Eggman starting, we're not that different, you and I. You and I both have styles that we won't change. Yeah, but yours is evil and mine is not. Again, agree to disagree. Ian, you just can't help yourself.
He really can't help himself. I will have to make the comment. a tad bit forced, but I get it. He sees the opportunity. He's going to go for it. Listen, it's cute. I'm not going to bring up that big of a deal about it. So Sonic, in his annoyance and anger, says, I'm running out of time and totally out of patience. You're going to reverse the metal virus or else what? You can't stop me. No one can. The metal virus infection has spread exponentially. I couldn't stop it if I even wanted to. And all that's left is to find a way to command the Zombots, and then I will finally rule the world.
And then Sonic dives in. Tails is gonna handle the cure, and I'll handle you. Despite that, as Eggman readies some ammo from his Eggmobile, one last battle before we become my Zombot slave. One last battle before we lock you away forever.
Off to the side, Starline is having a bit of a moment, let's call it. Here it is. The scene I've dreamed of seeing firsthand, and all I feel is apathy. Neo Metal Sonic nearly succeeded in reviving the Eggman Empire, but he acted too brashly. He thought overwhelming power would win the day without a proper plan. I thought it was because he had been designated as a counter to Sonic, a ballistic missile with a built-in grudge, but the first biodata he downloaded was Eggman's, and here we are, seeing the exact same brute force strategy. I got lost in the pageantry, in his showmanship. I was inspired by Eggman's legend. The man simply doesn't measure up.
And so the glass has shattered.
Well, kids, never meet your heroes. Yeah, this is coming. This has been a long time coming with Starline. We've been seeing the gradual degradation of it. His philosophy on Eggman starting to take a very, very different turn. By the way, this philosophy shift, it's gonna lead to a lot of shit happening.
Remember how I said in the beginning that we still feel the consequences of the Metal Virus saga even to this day in the most recent releases? This is kind of what I'm talking about. It's all connected. So Eggman boasts how Sonic can't run forever. Eventually he's going to turn into a Zombot, leading him to just in front of Eggman. If you're so proud of it, why don't you try it? With Sonic about to touch Eggman, and he's panicking. Don't touch me. The two fall down and out into the ground, and with Zombots surrounding them. And Sonic quips about how now I bet you wish you had a cure. And Eggman demands, like, no, all of you stay back. But then the Zombots end up swarming Sonic. Eggman's surprised to see that, it just works. But above, Starline says he actually found an effective signal. Starline thinks he may not have to fall to his own plan, but then again, will Eggman learn from any of this?
Eggman says, excellent work, now upload that frequency to the spaceship so I can command the Zombots of the world. Sonic screams out, no, before he busts from the pile and smashes directly through the Eggmobile, destroying the frequency. No Zombot army for you.
So he ends up swooping down, gets to Eggman, and Eggman demands he go higher and faster, which Starline says there's just too much weight on his pod. So they end up crashing to get on top of the wall, with no frequency to send now. Eggman says now there's no one to control the Zombots, and they'll just destroy his factories along with everything else. To which Sonic says, well, it looks like you better get started on a cure, buddy. But Eggman refuses that. I'll pay over the hordes if I have to. But Starline sees that there are Zombots starting to climb up the wall to them, so he generates a portal back to the spaceship, and the two leave, Eggman calling this a Pyrrhic victory. I've already won the war, Sonic, and you're too stubborn to admit you lost. Portal closes, we're back on the spaceship, and Starline looks at his files. The upload failed. But I do remember the range, so let's at least start with, but Eggman cuts him off. It's too risky. And the virus may as well already be adapting to it. I won't go for all this trouble just for it to not work. Plus, now the plan is we infect Orbot. Where are we at right now? Spiral Hill Village. Yeah, that. Then afterwards, I don't know, I'll think of something. Leaving Starline alone to go ahead on his own plans.
Meanwhile, Sonic is, falling victim to the infection very quickly. Oh man, I did exactly what Tails warned me not to do. I didn't protect the data reader. I haven't been able to protect my friends. I put my faith in the idea everyone has a little good in them, and Eggman's made me pay dearly for it. Sonic is about to be overcome by a horde of Zombots, his eyes turning red, before he blasts through, jumping over the wall of Barricade Town and pushing on through. But I can't give up. I've got to protect my friends who are still safe. I've got to find a way to save the ones who got infected. I've screwed up a lot, but I still have time to make things right. I feel like I'm going to collapse, though. Is this what everyone feels like after a run? Oh, this guy is, he's going the fuck through it, bros. This motherfucker.
Then Amy calls him, telling him what happened at Restoration HQ in Central City. It's bad. We're going to go to Spiral Hill to evacuate. Can you meet us there? And he says he's on his way. At least with things like this, it can't get any worse, right?
Meanwhile, on the hidden world of the Lost Hex, Zavok, along with Master Zik, begin to communicate and have a little chat. We have been tested, Master Zik. Eggman used us as his enforcers. Sonic humiliated us in battle. This will not go unanswered.
When they turn around, they see Starline's portal open to say that their patience has paid off. Starline arrives sooner than Zavok expected. Starline says today's events have proved that you will be needed. You can control machines, right? So Zavok decides to demonstrate his abilities and takes control of a nearby Motobug and brings it near. Whether 1 or 100, the Deadly Six can command all machines. So Zavok bows to Starline gracefully. We are very eager to serve Eggman once again. Starline decides to take them up and heads back to the face ship himself for last-minute preparations. And when the portal closes, Zik sees that Starline is pretty naive, actually. He has no idea that they plan to use Eggman's army against him. And once there, the Deadly Six can journey to the lands below, take control of the Zombots, defeat Sonic and Eggman, and destroy the world they've been warring so long after.
Meanwhile, Starline closes the portal. The file said Eggman used the cacophonous conch to enslave the city and that they were eager to turn on him. Zavok is planning to betray me the minute he steps aboard. Big think, but I've done my research. And being an avid collector of Eggman's paraphernalia as he opens a warp topaz portal, reaches through it, means I'm already prepared. Showing the cacophonous conch. Take note, Eggman. This is how you do it. Okay?
Alright, so he's not completely stupid.
Alright, so he's done his research. He's cooking. He's cooking just a little. Just a little.
Just a little bit. Those last 3 issues sure were interesting considering everything going on. So let's see what's happened next in issue number 24. Flynn writing and Thomas on the art.
I would like to point out that the cover for this issue is done by our goat, John Gray. And it is an amazing cover showing, it's essentially a 2-sided cover split down the middle with Sonic as the connecting line through. One half is everyone, all the Sonic characters, literally almost all of them, completely normal. And on the other side, all of the Sonic characters turn into Zombots. As Eggman sits at the bottom, laughing maniacally, Metal Sonic holding the metal virus closed on the side with everyone okay, and the metal virus cracked on the other side where people have been turned into Zombots.
It goes pretty hard. John Gray, another banger, John Gray.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite covers in all of IDW. It's legitimately incredible how good it is.
And I think if I remember correctly, the B cover, the alternate cover, I don't remember who does it, but it is essentially a recreation of a sprite layout from Sonic Advance 3 showing Sonic and Tangle. It even has like the little like life icon in the corner. Big fan of that one too.
That's very cute. So we open as Sonic runs towards Spiral Village. The whole place completely in shambles.
Place was under attack by Eggman last time he was here, and it seems things have really not changed that much. Ouch. Well, Sonic boosts through the town, seeing Tails and Cream airlift survivors out. The restoration's already here, so he tries to go find Amy, but sees that Espio needs some backup. Just before he's swarmed by the Zombots, Sonic arrives to rapid attack them away from Espio and clears them out. It's a small group Sonic saw, and Espio comments that their numbers have grown thin the past couple of days. And he recaps the situation. Amy and Gemerald are on the shuttle scanning survivors, Tails and Cream are airlifting people, and Silver is managing Ice Paradise on his own for now. So that leaves himself, Tangle, and Whisper to handle the Zombots. Sonic then asks, well, what happened to Vector? And, That fresh wound is opened up once again with him saying that they found Charmy together and they thought he was well contained and ended up accidentally being released inside HQ. I shouldn't have let Vector take him in, it's my fault, but tries to pep talk him. But Espio snaps.
He says, just like I shouldn't have let you convince me to leave Eggman and Windmill Village. Sonic retorting that was Mr. Tinkerer. We had no way of knowing Starline would turn him back into Eggman. And if we had dealt with him then, we wouldn't have had to worry. So what? We have to assume the worst about everyone and everything, show no mercy to anyone, no second chances? As the two lock eyes, sweat pouring down their brows. There are people to save, says Espio. Right. See you at the shuttle.
Yeah, so, but this is like a point that no one is talking about, which is completely reasonable considering the circumstances. But yeah, let's say they do lock him away. Starline still would have found them. I understand why no one is talking about this considering the situation that they're all in, and they literally don't have time to talk about it.
But it's in the back of everyone's mind, right? Everyone knows that, like, this is indirectly caused by Sonic's fuck up.
Yeah, that's kind of why I say this is a very complicated situation. Sonic is feeling immense guilt over the situation, and I feel like anyone would. There are things that they're not considering, and even though to some in the middle of all this, they think the Starline point is just an excuse, but it's really not. It's a little unfair is what I'm trying to say. It's a little unfair.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
On the run, Sonic sees some Zombots trying to break down a door and tries to hold them back, getting support from Whisper from her Spike Wispon to block the door through. 2 thumbs up, Sonic continues on, hopping over a fence to the shuttle and finds Amy and Lanolin preparing what's left of the restoration. And Amy sees that Sonic has come fashionably late, but you know, he always loves making an entrance. What's happening? Amy tells him what she's been up to. She and General made this choke point for the Zombots so we can handle them if they do get through. But we're all almost done, so once they leave, the Zombots are gonna swarm them. So Sonic thinks he can watch their back while they do. I'll go find Tangle and see if she's got ideas. It is her town after all. Just as he's about to leave, Tails and Cream fly in. Tails calls for Sonic to hold on, and so when he's coming towards Tails, Cream flies in a little closer, and she passes by Sonic and says hello, but you can see on the look on her face that her spirit's just broken. Like, she has, like, her eyes are just soulless.
Yeah, she's
gone through a lot.
She is fucking traumatized, bro. She is, Dunzo.
She doesn't say anything other than hi, and Amy whispers to Sonic that her mom held back the Zombots for them all to escape. She saw everything, and Sonic's face he's clearly shaken to learn that too. When Tails comes in and asks Sonic, do you still have the data recorder? But Sonic says, no, I ran into Eggman and I'm sorry, little bro, it's trashed. And Tails fights through tears, saying it's fine, you know, without the lab or the computers in the HQ, I would not have been able to make the vaccine anyway. Amy has to shake Tails a bit, focus on the now. He pulls himself together. Right, we couldn't find anybody else. Everyone's become Zombots now. Amy is a little dejected, but orders the retreat. Sonic will go find Tangle to coordinate with her, and Tails will find Whisper and Espio. When the two are heading out, General comes to Amy, saying that he scanned Sonic, and adds that he's noticing Sonic's contamination is much higher than previous estimates allowed, which in other words, he diagnoses Sonic's speed is starting to lose the ability to stop the virus.
Ticking time bomb. Things continue to go downhill. Oh, this is lovely.
So we then go to Jewel's museum. Tangle is fighting the Zombots inside, using stools to protect her feet from directly touching them. But Sonic arrives asking if anyone needs help. Tangle shouts she's okay, but Sonic meant more her neighbors. And she says, oh, no, right, yeah, no. Everyone's evacuated, it's cool. Oh, well, Amy is about to call the evac, Sonic says. So when the Zombots notice the noise, they're gonna head right for the shuttle. Not good, you know? But they do have a bottleneck. So Sonic asks if she knows how to plug it. And she says, no, yeah, I got an idea. 3 steps. You pick me up, then wind my tail around a lamppost, and then wind my tail before some more lamppost, and my tail can be a tripwire. Sonic says, well, that's a pretty good plan, besides, you know, if I touch you, you become infected. But Tangle's like, yeah, actually, don't worry about that. And pulls down her shirt and sees a blotch of metal virus on her.
Oh,
yeah, she
man.
found Jewel, turned into a Zombot, and she got the jump on me. I've been doing my best to hold it off from spreading, but I'm not gonna last much longer. Sonic, When he sees the infection, he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. But she's like, why? This isn't your fault. But he thinks aloud, like, well, what if it was? What if I just listened to Shadow? What if I didn't let Metal Sonic go? But in the moping, a Zombot almost gets the jump on Sonic. Tangle pushes it back with her tail, reminding him, you're not the one that brought Eggman back. That was Starline. You made sure Metal Sonic was harmless. Eggman weaponized him again. Sonic says, yeah, and I haven't been able to protect my friends or much of anything. Oh, right, so no one's guarding that shuttle full of nothing. Huh? Sonic sees that Tangle won't let this go, and she says it's all because he is Sonic the Hedgehog. You'll set this right. I know you will. Now less moping, and let's get moving. So Sonic takes her hand, and they rush out. So I want to give a shout out to Tangle. She truly is a real one, even in the most dire of situations. What a legend.
Yeah, what an absolute fucking legend. Good lord, man. She's kind of goated here.
Once they arrive to the choke point, Tangle grabs a lamppost, and she and Sonic wrap her tail around to create the plug. Though it's a little too much. She says it's starting to hurt now, but it should be enough for you guys to escape. And can you tell everyone I'm sorry? Whisper especially is going to take it really hard. Sonic agrees. Yeah, and thank you for everything. The two then hug it out, which I think they both really, really needed in that moment. Sonic especially. So he does try to give Tangle some last words, but she shouts for him to get out of here. And then as he leaves, Tangle turns back, sees the Zombots entangled in her tail, wipes her tears. All right. It's go time, and starts to rush in, going hand on hand against them. You know, you guys may as well turn back. You guys are my neighbors, and you know I'm not going to let you pass. Then when Sonic gets back to the group, he says he'll ride on the outside of the shuttle, which Amy asks, well, where's Tangle? Sonic breaks the bad news. She got infected. She's staying behind to keep the way safe for us. She said she was sorry, but heroes have nothing to be sorry for.
The shot that displays is one of absolute terror on everyone's face. But then whisper. The detail is so absurd. And the panel of her screaming out Tangle's name as her fangs are bared, crying hysterically as she's fighting tooth and nail to get through before the wisps come out and drag her by her cape to get on the ship.
And she just keeps screaming for Tangle. And then once she's inside, she just shouts, go, go, go. And when the shuttle takes off, she just hops onto the roof. And as for Tangle, she sees the shuttle take off, shouting, don't keep me waiting too long, and is fighting the Zombots. Eventually, the infection from her tail hits her body, calling the feeling very unpleasant, but just tells them keep it coming. She's still standing. She can still fight. She can still... And just as she's about to punch the face of another Zombot, her fist stops in the air, and we see Tangle has fully turned. Sonic looks back at the village as they fly away. Inside, Cream and the Wisps are consoling Whisper as she's just bawling. I don't even think that describes it, honestly. She is inconsolable, in hysterics. She is screaming her lungs out.
Yeah. This kind of speaks for itself. Holy shit.
It always goes so hard whenever you see, like, quieter, like, low-key characters freak out like this, but it goes even harder when you understand, like, their relationship is technically supposed to be a lot more deeper than what we're being presented, you know?
Yeah. It's certainly something.
But we finally end this issue on the face ship. Starline tells Eggman about a potential solution to the Zombot problem. Eggman just says, look, I don't want to hear it right now, but he'll figure it out. Starline insists and has his warp topaz shimmer. I insist you hear me out. And then from the portal, the silhouettes of the Deadly Six begin to show. If this can't get any worse.
Yeah, wow, this is wild.
I believe, is it this issue or was it the next one where Ian said on Twitter, responding to someone like, hey man, like, be real, like, is it gonna get worse from here? And Ian said, no, this is the lowest point we've gotten. Things get better from here. So if you guys are feeling a little, don't worry, we're gonna get back to the good zone again. Just stick with it, because oh my god.
Yeah.
Whisper especially, like, Adam Bryce Thomas, you went hard on her detail.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say other than this is fucking insane. Holy shit.
Well, let's take a breather, guys. Before we close things off, we have a little something extra for you guys in the Sonic Annual released in 2020. So this year's annual, the theming was untold stories from the Metal Virus. So we have little stories taking place around the same time of this saga, just trying to fill in a little extra detail. Some a little bit more lighthearted than others, but there's definitely some interesting things to talk about.
Yeah, and I feel like it's only appropriate that we start with our main story. The GOAT. The King. Welcome to Big's Big Adventure.
Let's fucking go.
Done by John Gray with some of the best shading and line work I have seen from this comic. It looks amazing.
And Ian Flynn wrote, John Gray does the art, and it's a team up that I truly have missed. I'm not gonna lie.
It is. So we open as Big returns home to his treehouse. Things are not looking so great. He says, wow, would you look at that? Doesn't matter how many times we've seen it. Sure is pretty, Froggy. The short rivet. Haven't been here to see it for a while, though. You led me on a pretty long adventure.
And he tells his story. So Big started at Vista View. He's fishing in the sewers and meets Sonic in there while he was saving Vista View from the Badniks way back when. And since he couldn't find Froggy there, he decides to head through Riverside, then Barricade Town, then Spiral Hill looking for him. But Froggy, there's nowhere to be found. He lost track of him outside of Windmill Village, where we see Big fishing near where Sonic and Shadow were fighting. He searched high and low for his friend, looking for him on the Egg Fleet and in the base where Whisper was hiding. Big hitched a ride on the shuttle when the team was going to Angel Island to fight Neo Metal, and ended up falling off the island when the Master Emerald was removed. But he's okay. He paddled back to shore with his floaty, so it's all good. He's safe. From there, Big tried to retrace his steps. He constantly kept coming across Rough and Tumble, eventually saying that they were met by a magician who freed them, that of course being Starline. And came across this magician a few days later performing for Sonic and Silver. But, he only kept doing one trick. He's not very good.
Based.
Went back to Windmill Village where those guys were fighting Sonic. I think those guys' names were Rash and Truffles. But goes to the mine where he thought he heard voices coming from the bottom of a hole, but there was nothing there. Guess the loneliness was just playing tricks on me, as we see a glowing pair of red eyes peering at him from the bottom. And Big was getting worried. Couldn't find Froggy anywhere. And he says that the world was starting to get spooky. Whole cities were empty. I thought you went to play with Cream, but no one was home. I even tried looking for our other friends, but I couldn't find anybody. But I heard Amy was having everyone over for a big sleepover. But the robot in front was mean. Of course, being General, insisting that Big be scanned for infection, but he says, he's not sick. He shouts for Froggy inside just as Vector brings in Zombot Charmy, and he didn't hear him, so he just left. Which was literally just before the Zombots started to break out inside.
Yeah, the timing is immaculate.
He's been looking for his friend for so long. He got scared something happened to him. But he figured Froggy might be scared and alone too, so he kept looking. And he goes back to Vista View to double check, and with tears of joy, he reels in Froggy, happy to have his friend back. Everything's gonna be okay now, as behind him, refugees from Spiral Hill are being led out of town by Jewel. As they're on the road, they're met by these strange monsters, Big calls them, but he's not going to let them hurt his friend, and rapidly hits the Zombots with his fishing rod, Sandevistan style. It's pretty sick, actually.
Yeah, Froggy jumps off of one of them, trying to do his part, Big commenting that he was brave too. He made sure that they couldn't follow us, and we ran all the way home. And you know the rest, because that's it. We're home. Safe and sound. You must be pretty tired, because you haven't said much since we got back, as Big is being coated in the metal virus. His whole house and the force around him being coated continuously. That's okay. We're such good friends, I know what you're thinking. I'm happy to be home with you too. Fuck. Not
God
these two.
damn it.
Not these two, man.
Ian, you hold no bounds. Truly, you hold no bounds. Well, That's the end of our first story. My heart is broken. Let's move on to our story B, shall we? Writing and art being done by our own Evan Stanley.
Yes.
We open on Sunset City, the city's local radio station, run by the host, Night the Owl. He is a very, very charming guy, he looks like, very kind. The sun sets, the nightly news and call-in show is about to start, and puts a vinyl on to play to give himself a breather. Just as Dawn, a rooster, and the building's custodian comes in to clean the space up a little bit. And before I go on, I do want to point out, Evan confirmed on Twitter a while ago that these two are actually canonically a gay couple. She got the okay from Sega because their relationship was established from their bios, and in her exact words, it sidesteps the no romance rule.
Wow. That's pretty interesting, actually.
It's a pretty interesting admission, too, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, it's considering the Tangle and Whisper stuff, it's yeah.
Yeah. Well, Knight keeps his bright disposition up and starts taking calls. This first one is from a girl named Gala. She called because she doesn't know who else to call for. There are these weird people following her, and they look sickly. Their skin looks shiny, almost like metal. But Knight tells her to just relax. You should have called the police. But she says she tried, and nobody answered her call. I think they found me. Call cuts off, and the two have no idea what's going on. So Knight takes more calls from the panicked people of Sunset City. A mom saying that her son was sick and took his temperature, but then call ends abruptly. Then more calls saying that the road has been cut off. There's all these people covered in metal. Another person says it's spreading. And more people calling in, essentially recording their last moments of free will until finally people just stop calling. So Dawn thinks the best chance they've got now is to just leave. We can get a few 100 miles out by sunrise, but Knight is truly worried about the people. This is the city's #1 station for news and advice. But Dawn snaps at him. Can you please not worry about the people for once? I don't want to wait around here and get killed by metal monsters because of your featherhead sense of pride. Stay if you want, but I guarantee the people won't be saving you. And he storms out.
Ooh, kind of fucked up, not gonna lie.
Knight is clearly upset as he leaves, but he gets another call, this time from a restoration soldier, saying that his station is the only one still broadcasting in the area. Can you please inform people about the metal virus? The restoration is setting up a safe house for survivors to stay in before we evacuate. And outside the station, Dawn is trying to get the truck started, and when he finally gets it going, the radio turns on, and Dawn hears the conversation between Knight and the restoration soldier. He asks if reading their message out will help, and the soldier says it's the only chance we got, and he understands. Even if one person is saved, it's worth it to me. So he gets the email and is worried that it's only a matter of time before the Zombots get in, but to his surprise, Dawn comes back in with some boards and nails, saying the talent should not have to worry about that. You keep yapping, I'll make sure nothing gets in this station. And he's touched by this, he really is, and says, well, the people have spoken, and I am needed tonight. As Dawn begins to nail the station up, Knight reads out that the restoration will be gathering survivors at the Grand Flicky Hotel. If you can't get there, call in and let the restoration to know how to get to you. Although the hammering's kind of loud, Knight thinks, but Dawn tells him, shut up, hammers don't come with a mute button, you know. As in the darkness, we see a single Zombot approaching the building.
Okay.
Wow. Well,
right.
I want to give a shout out to Evan Stanley introducing these characters and already making me feel for them. Great job. Great job.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into one that I'm going to handle solo because there's very little dialogue. One of the most introspective out of all of these comics.
It was written by Golner and art by Hammerstrom.
Metal Sonic in Reflections. We cut to Metal Sonic walking down the hall. Alone. He eyes a panel showing a display of him fighting against Silver and Sonic before walking away and clenching his fist. He speeds up his pace, opening a door to a vat of the metal virus. Metal Sonic walks forward. He looks at the vat and then looks at the screen, showing Sonic being infected by the virus. He looks, turns back to the vat, walks over to it, places his hand above it, clenching his fist in a bit of hesitation before stealing his resolve and dipping his finger in. The oil coats his finger and drips off, causing a ripple in the vat. Metal Sonic looks down at his hand, deeply lost in thought, before being brought back to reality by Starline. Ahem, are your sensors malfunctioning? I said get out. Metal Sonic walks out. I can't believe this. The doctor's greatest creature shambling around my lab like a zombot. As Metal Sonic walks away, completely dejected.
Wow.
So there is a lot to be inferred here. I think what's interesting to me is that this story exists to begin with. Metal Sonic is not in use barely at all in this arc. It's literally doing nothing. And the fact that they did this with no words mostly, just let the silence sort of speak for itself about, like, I don't know if it's humiliating. Like what do you infer from this? I want to know.
What I get out of this story is that the whole point of Metal Sonic's character is that he's designed to be the superior quote-unquote Sonic, right? So in his mind, I'm guessing, he takes the fact that Sonic is an organic being kinda differently. So he sees Sonic struggle to the metal virus, and I don't know if this is me. I don't even know if I go far in saying this, but perhaps the thought exists in his head of, if Sonic himself becomes a robot, then what do I be? What am I, essentially? And he's not trying to do the dipping of the metal virus to try to infect himself as a way to do a power grab. It's more so like Sonic is constantly proving to be better than Metal Sonic. So if he can do something that the original Sonic can also do, that's enough in this situation. But he dips his finger in, pulls it out, and it just drips off of him. And the moment where it drips off of him, to me, it feels like he's disassociating almost. That's why when Starline comes back in, he doesn't hear him at first. It's all a matter of extreme questioning of what he himself even is supposed to be.
I think that's a really good summary of it. You know, Metal has always had an inferiority complex to an extent. I mean, Neo Metal is a great example of this, right? The idea of the copy argument. But I think what makes it really interesting, really interesting, is when we get moments like these where Metal Sonic is questioning what his purpose is. Like, what is the point if I can't win? What is the point if I cannot match up to the original in any way, shape, or form? And the fact that it has to come to like a very slight realization is just, damn, man.
It's just so incredibly interesting.
Yes. So we're gonna contrast that with something a lot more lighthearted.
Yeah, so this next story, we have a new writer here by Sarah Grayley. Lamar Wells did the art. So Sarah here is based in the UK, has done more original comics such as Our Super Adventure and Kim Reaper. Their first work in the industry was with Oni Press's Rick and Morty comics, which is a little unfortunate considering recent news, but I digress. But most interestingly, they and their partner do a duo pop band called Sonic the Comic, which is still active today. I did not expect to see something like that when researching them, so oh wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, this story focuses on Starline. He's creating a few viewing portals to see the Zombots causing havoc around the world, but he has a portal focusing on Eggman where he's shrouded in shadow, and he suddenly starts screaming, which Starline panics to run to the portal and tackles him. But Eggman is a little perturbed to see that he's there, and the reason why he was yelling is because he's frustrated and looking for the light switch in this room. Trust me, the robot who built it like this has long since turned to scrap. But since you're here, may as well show you what's inside. Clicks on the lights, and in full, the Egg Cave, Eggman's personal space, contains various models and figures of his machines and enemies alike. Also, he can work on his personal projects and get those creative egg juices flowing.
It's very cute, yes.
Eggman builds models in here, and gets 2 figurines of himself and Sonic, and he says he uses these 2 to plan battle strategies for the week. You know, evil never takes a break. He bashes the 2 toys together in a little mock fight, but then Eggman's toy, the head, pops off, which leaves him to scream, "Oh, that cursed hedgehog, forever a pain in my..." Turns his head, sees Starline just kind of like, how would you describe that? Eyes just wide open, and is like, what? It's like, so Eggman just says, well, you know, it's not always hedgehog this or hedgehog that. Sometimes it's the fox, or sometimes it's the chameleon. But no more will they be a pain in my side, for they will be zombots to do my bidding. Now, while Starline takes a second to admire the Doctor's craftsmanship, there is something extremely important I need to point out here. The way that these toys are designed, Eggman explicitly said they are Zombots, right? But look at how they're designed. They don't look like Zombots to me. I'm going to go as far as to say they look like they're roboticized.
Yeah, I think that's a much, much better way of putting it.
In fact, I'll even go further. If you see in another panel on the shelf, there is a toy designed like Mecha Sonic from Archie as well.
That's probably an intentional callback.
Sarah Grayley seems like a fan of OG Sonic comics, and Lamar Wells did work on Archie too. But that's the thing. This is where I'm stumped. How did they get away with this? Did they even know? Like, what's... I am really confused.
It's too legally distinct.
You think?
Yeah, it's too legally distinct. It's like legally distinct Fei Fong Wong.
Smile.
Yeah, dude.
Well... Regardless, Starline notes how impressive and detailed the toys are, and he grabs the one that looks like him, but he looks at it closely, and he sees that one is roboticized as well, and that unsettles him greatly. And Eggman realizes this and kicks Starline out. It's my day off, not yours. Get back to work. He pushes Starline out and slams the door behind him, and knock next time, why don't you? But all in all, Starline has been left perturbed.
Ah, yes. Perturbed is a good way to put it. So let's move on to the Chaotix
before the incident occurred. So
yeah,
this story was written by Samantha King and art by Peppers. So Sam King here, she mainly works in animation, and this comic writing credit is literally like the standout in her portfolio. So from what I looked at, she storyboarded a handful of episodes for the DuckTales reboot and clearance on Cartoon Network, and she co-wrote and co-directed the episodes of 2017 DuckTales They Put a Moonlander on the Earth, and was the episodic director for The Ghost and Molly McGee on Disney Channel. She's got pretty insane credits. Go you, Samantha King.
Yeah.
The story is on the Chaotix. We see them on the Restoration shuttle. Vector crosses out a spot on an island, notes how Charmy's been alone for days in the apocalypse, probably thought we abandoned him to fend for himself. Espio, how can you be so calm? And Espio says it is important to keep a level head. Looking blindly will just send us in circles. Let's go back to Restoration HQ, drop off the refugees, and we can refuel and regroup. Which Vector then asks the pilot, can you go like a little faster? But he says that they're in the flight path of a flicky migration. We gotta go cautiously. And Espio tells Vector to relax, we're detective. If there's anyone we can find, it's each other. But then the shuttle suddenly takes a hit by Zombot Flickies led by Charmy. So Vector thinks fast, grabs an egg prison and a plastic shield to try to get Charmy, stepping out onto the shuttle's wings as Espio shouts, can you at least try to think of a plan first? Vector is shielding himself from the Flickies, shouting he's sorry for leaving Charmy behind, but it's all gonna be better now. We're gonna take you to HQ and Tails will fix up something to help you out. I gotcha! But Charmy ends up shielding himself with zombie Flickies to prevent getting caught, just as a swarm of Flickies are about to hit Vector from the back, and Espio smoke bombs his way behind Vector. You'll be no help as a Zombot, so don't be so reckless. Luckily for them, the smoke got blown back into the flock and is confusing the Flickies, but only for a second as they charge back towards them. Vector can't think of a plan while also dodging all these Zombots with all the birds flapping and the buzzing and the buzzing. That's it. He's got an idea. Takes a smoke bomb from Espio, leaves him with a shield. Watch my back. He's waiting to listen for a buzz among the flapping, hears the sound, and throws the smoke bomb, with Vector going right into the cloud, taking the containment pod, and comes out with Charmy trapped. And they jump right back into the shuttle. With Vector saying that even in the Zombot apocalypse, Chaotix always find what we're looking for.
Yeah. Cute little story.
If it did not end in disaster.
Yes, amazing. And now we move on to our final story, Jewel the Beetle in The Catalyst.
Written by Gigi the Tree and art. We have a newcomer for the art, Abigail Bulmer. She's based in the UK. She's done cover art for IDW Sonic before this story. In general, she's worked on TMNT, the Powerpuff Girls, and Angry Birds in the past, and recently has broken into animation as a storyboard artist for a show Daisy and Ollie on BBC Channel 5.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, we open in Spiral Hill. One of the kids that are part of the Sonic fan club comes running after Jewel, asks her for help. The club meeting was out in the farms when out of nowhere, some weird gunk fell out of the sky. He got separated from his club and has been looking for everyone since then, but he can't seem to find them. That's why he's actually looking for Tangle. Maybe she can help. And she says Tangle is out helping Sonic and the Restoration with the metal virus. So Jewel offers to go help herself. Sticking around with Tangle feels like made her a hero. So they go to the outskirts near the farms, no one to be seen, not even the ship that dropped the gunk. And she thinks it's weird that not even the Flickies are around either. But they hear a kid's voice and rush to them. finding someone in a haystack surrounded by pure metal virus. Jewel says it's good that none of that got to her, which, unknown to them, the club president is behind Jewel and is about to touch the liquid. It's very bad and very dangerous, she says. Sonic and Tangle are gonna handle it, though. So they head back home. Around the barn, they see Eggman's face ship dumping more metal virus. So Jewel tells the kids to run. If they see any other members of your club that have turned into zombots, And on the bridge back into town, more zombots are climbing the bridge over, but they make it past the gates into town. And Jewel sees that there's metal virus on her hands. The kids both touched it, thinking nothing of it, like they could just wash it off. But then the face ship stops over the town, and Jewel asks for Tangle, and calls her and tells her what's going on. It's not looking so good. To which then later, Tangle comes back to Jewel's museum fully abandoned, shouting for her friend if she's still okay. To which he's not seeing her behind Jewel on a case, having fully turned into a zombot. Well,
we were having a pretty decent time before it all just kind of collapsed in on itself.
It's a bunch of up and downs, you know? But yeah, great annual. Always love these when they come across them. And, wow, it really was a bunch of up and down stories, huh?
Yeah, complete disaster in some and decent in others. But good lord, this is getting out of control.
Well, we can finish things off in... Folks, we gotta celebrate. We've reached the first milestone issue, Sonic the Hedgehog, issue 25.
Wow, we are already here. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's incredible. All the milestone issues are always interesting to see because I think it being in the middle of this intense saga, it doesn't really feel super special, but they try to make it work a little bit. I think this one just has like some additional pages. Well, regardless, Ian Flynn wrote, Adam Bryce Thomas on the art. So we open Angel Island, the hidden floating island known only to a few, including its sole resident, Knuckles. And he sees a restoration shuttle coming in from a distance, about to land on his island. And it touches down, as does Sonic, almost fully turned by the metal virus. Only the right half of his face is organic. And Knuckles is shocked and asks, why do you look like Metal Sonic? But Sonic says, Tails and Amy will catch you up to speed. I don't want to land on the grass just in case. And starts burning off the virus and runs. And Knuckles sees him run, thinking he knows he's not going to like what Tails and Amy have got for me today.
Meanwhile, aboard the face ship, the Deadly Six walk out of Starline's portal. Eggman is not pleased by this, calling him a traitor.
But Starline insists that they will solve the problem. You cannot. Eggman will deal with them later. Six metal onto the Deadly Six, but with a flick of the wrist, Zavok turns metal to his side. Why did you even bother attacking with a robot that we can easily control? But Starline says they will be in place, controlling the Zombots while Eggman looks for a better way to contain the virus, as he pulls out the cacophonic conch and blows into it to get the Deadly Six under control. But apparently Starline has pretty weak lungs and it was a fast breath, and they are not affected by it at all. Zaz headbutts him, Xena takes the conch from him and gives it to Zavok. So much for foresight. As unknown from everybody, Orbot and Cubot get a call from Rouge, wondering where she's been.
Starline is not happy, but the conch, it only works as long as your lungs last, idiot. Then we'll remove those first. How then? Now then, how did you put it? Ah, yes. Metal Sonic. Destroy for daddy. As, Starline quickly creates a warp topaz portal, and Eggman drags him through it.
They're gone. Zaz is a little miffed that they didn't get to bash their heads in, but Zavok thinks, in fact, it's time for a shift in priorities. We have Eggman's ship, means of creating the virus, and on top of that, the fabled Chaos Emeralds. Some of them are not that impressed, but Zavok reaches one, ripping its chassis out of Eggman's throne, and puts it on its chest, feeling its power course through him. Like all things, they will take them for their own. To which Orbot comes to him and says, oh yes, that's an excellent plan, new boss. Cubot, surprised to see they're going along with Zavok, but kind of non-verbally says it's all to save themselves. Zavok is also surprised that they would freely serve him, but Orbot says, yes, of course we would. We're spineless. Literally and figuratively. Zavok is quite amused by this. Take us to the largest known pocket of survivors. Sure thing, new boss, and I'll make sure to log everything so everyone is coordinated. And gives a thumbs up And in the rafters, we see Rouge hiding in the shadows, thumbs up back. Looks like Rouge is cooking up a little something special.
Let her cook. Let her cook.
Zavok takes more Chaos Emeralds, giving them to the Deadly Six. Starline had the right idea. We will command the Zombot Horde. With their base power, we could command a few dozen. But with Chaos Emeralds, we can command thousands. We will orchestrate the terror of these Zombots around the world. And then, neither Eggman or Sonic will have anywhere left to run. We'll give them the mercy of a slow end, corrupted by the masses they sought to protect or conquer.
Yes. Yes. This continues to escalate.
Well, back on Angel Island, Sonic ran back to the Master Emerald Altar with Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. He's burned off most of the virus, and Knuckles has been caught up. You brought trouble to my island yet again. Speaking of, Starline's portal opens and drops them right in front of the altar. Now in even more trouble, Amy has her hammer at the ready, but Sonic says, wait, hold. Something's clearly happened for them to arrive here so unprepared. To which Eggman explains, Starline here let the Deadly Six onto my face ship, and instantly they took over. Starline, though, says, no, it was a good idea. Just poorly executed. He is not helping himself right now. Goddamn.
He is not. Knuckles saying, why should we trust a single word either of you say? SVO comments that they just got word from Rouge.
Inside the bridge, Rouge relays what she's seen in here. She's been inside the ship for the past few days, almost had a plan to steal the emeralds before the Deadly Six showed up, but now she's working with Orbot and Cubot, and they're gonna be double agents and will relay everything to us. As Eggman comments, well, can't hire good help, but I can sure build it. Which Tails says angrily, you have no right to gloat. Tell us how to cure the metal virus. You can't cure it. Yes, you can. I had one, but then lost the research. To which he says, okay, fine, I don't have one and I don't need one. Eggman says that in his research, it's shown that the metal virus will mutate, and it will become more and more unstable as it does so, and any inflicted heterotrophic eukaryote cells will eventually suffer a form of atroposis. Autotrophic cells will endure slightly longer, but not much else. To which our boy Knuckles goes, English, please?
Tails, it means the Zombots will disintegrate. How long do we have? 200 years, give or take. I'll have evacuated to a different plan well before then. He's right. Walks in silver. In my time, all that were left were ruins and metallic plants. The future I came to stop is already coming to pass because of this monster. And this man is, fucked up.
Yeah, he is beaten, bruised, and battered. Amy sees he's hurt and asks what happened to everybody from Ice Paradise. He says the shuttle went down. I couldn't save anybody. Are my failures here what led to my doomed future? Which leads Eggman. He says, is this guy always so melodramatic?
You don't get to judge. Now, that shot of Eggman is taken through the lens of a rifle. And before we know it, Cream is in front of that rifle. Whisper, aiming to assassinate Eggman. Please don't, Miss Whisper. Omega is with Cream as well. Agreed, Eggman is mine to destroy. She says, move. I understand why you hate him. I really, really do. But Mr. Sonic and the others need his help to figure out a way to fix this. I want to see my mother again, and Chocola, and everyone else. I know I'm asking a lot, but I'd give anything to have them back. Aren't they worth it? She's crying her eyes out at this point, and Whisper takes off her mask, crying her eyes out too, as Cream goes to hug her, saying, thank you. We'll stay with you so you won't be lonely. And Omega saying, I'm not lonely, I am enraged.
Yeah, at least it's an appropriate feeling right now. Oh my god, that's... Whisper was ready to take the shot.
Yeah, casual assassination attempt, by the way.
Well, time passes. They've built Sonic a treadmill to burn the virus as they work on a cure. And the guy's running on fumes. So they're throwing out ideas left, right, and center. Sonic suggests let's use the Master Emerald to neutralize the Chaos Emeralds. But Knuckles says, no. No risking the island, and we're not letting the Deadly Six get here. And you're not touching it. Which then Espio suggests, well, what about Chaos Control? But Silver says, unfortunately, Shadow was the best at it. Plus, Chaos Control can only move a target over a limited range. It can't change things. I don't want to get into this. I don't want to fucking get into this.
Well, Just flashback to Silver getting boot to the head, just just insert that in there if you're thinking about it. Amy suggests, but maybe if you were supersonic, could it work then? Sonic saying, I don't think so. Being supersonic means the Chaos Emeralds give me unlimited power, but I can't just do anything with it. Have you forgotten the Chaos Emeralds are scattered to the winds with the Deadly Six, says Eggman. One thing at a time. I don't hear you coming up with any bright ideas. I wanted you all to exhaust yourself of your bad ideas first. It's simple. We use the Warp Topaz. Starline told me himself that it can cause massive changes with just a little charge. Pump the power of supersonic through it, and he can warp the virus away in one fell swoop. Did you forget the Chaos Emeralds are scattered to the winds with the Deadly Six? One thought at a time.
Aye. And Starline once again says, no use of the Warp Topaz. And Eggman just tries to push him down, but Starline insists, I am the only expert on it here, and what you are proposing is exceedingly reckless. Crafting portals is a difficult process. The glove containing it was crafted very carefully. Supersonic using the Warp Topaz recklessly could strip away the virus, but it also could cause such a bad warp of space-time the planet collapses. Which almost did happen one time, but let's not get into that.
We have a safe haven here. We have resources. We can put in the work and find a safe, responsible way to regain control of the situation. We can still win. The rodent is living on borrowed time, says Eggman. This place will be safe for much longer, and I'll take any risk to ensure those blasted Zeddy don't use my own genius against me. We don't have any better option. We're ending this. No, says Starline. I'll figure out a way to finish what you started. You can thank me later. Before Metal Sonic, claws at his neck, hand grasp, in a very raw shot of Starline's pure and utter scared look on his face as death is coming knocking, has his Warp Topaz hand extended out. Thank you, Metal, Eggman says, taking it. Starline, you're fired. Pushed through the portal by Metal Sonic, and he is promptly taken care of.
Ooh. Well, the portal is closed. Tails asks Sonic, are we okay with what we just saw? With Sonic just saying, well, this guy brought Eggman back and tried to blow me and Silver up. Yeah, we're fine with this.
Wonderful.
On that note, SBO adds 5 Chaos Emeralds are with the rest of the Deadly Six, and Silver thinks it may be best to overpower them one at a time. But according to Rouge, they're all networked. We attack one, and they'll warn the others. Our best move is to attack them all at once. But Eggman thinks that won't be a problem. We can scavenge the shuttle for parts, and I will build a multi-portal generator. With the counter intel, we can send everyone to their exact targets. Amy has an idea. Let me make a call. Sonic wondering who there could be left to call.
Before the Babylon Rogues decide to show up. Sonic is kind of taken aback by this. You called the Babylon Rogues? They're thieves and they spend all day on a blimp. Who else would have avoided the plague and would be perfect for stealing the Chaos Emeralds?
Wow, okay. Unique take this time. Jet mocks Sonic's state. You're looking as pathetic as ever. So Sonic just asks, are you going to help us out or what? I might, Jet says, if the reward is big enough. But Wave smacks him over the head. Listen, if we don't help, how can we refuel? Who are we going to steal from? Where are we going to eat? But Jet says, look, we'll figure it out without resorting to being goody-goodies. Which Storm backs it up. If the boss says we ain't doing it, we ain't doing it. Stomach growls. Do like to eat, though.
Sonic says, Jet, I get it. You've got an image to maintain, your own way of doing things. But the fact of the matter is, I can't do this without you. I need your help, Jet. And the world needs the legendary Windmaster. We cut to a shot of the Rogues, basking in their very massive, absurd egos. As Jet says, well, if that's the case, who am I to deny the world their savior? Oh.
Oh, boy, this fucking guy, I swear to God. Amy says to Sonic, I won't tell Knuckles about this, but he admits his ego's been taking a beat in the past few days anyway. I'm gonna go for a run and burn off more metal virus. I'll be back in time for deployment. To which we see various scenes of the Deadly Six controlling Zombots. At Vista View, Zaz is making the Zombots level the town, looks for any stragglers, which a Zombot finds, and Zaz orders them to be beaten the metal virus into. In Riverside, Zom-Om is forcing the survivors to feed him. He's surrounded by food and snacks, but says it's not enough. But one survivor says, we've given you all we have. The deal is either you feed me or I feed you to the Zombots, so get cooking. Then Zor is in Orchardville. He is kind of reveling in hearing the cry of someone pleading for help, and waxes poetic of them making a heroic final stand as he makes the Zombots swarm them. In Sunset City, Xena makes the Zombots and survivors treat her like royalty. Zombots are carrying a metal chariot around with her in it, asking a survivor why is there no good shopping around here, which this lady thinks on her feet and says, well, there's nothing here that can suit someone as radiant as you. And she accepts that answer. You get 1 more hour of life. As for the rest of you, in the city of Winterberg, Zix is directing Zombots to spread the infection around the forest, hoping to spread it far beyond the reach of the land. And he calls Zavok, saying, at this rate, this continent's going to be fully infected in a few days. Is there not more you could be doing, though? Which Zavok says he's not merely resting on my laurels. I will see to it that the metal virus covers the land from coast by coast tonight. Then tomorrow, the world. To which our final shot shows Zavok commanding several Zombots, in the shot being Vector, Charmy, Jewel, Cheese Chocola Vanilla, Tangle Big, and Shadow.
Oh boy. And that is where we leave our comics. A plan has been formulated, a last-ditch effort. How does this all end?
Well, thankfully, we have nowhere to go but up here. Everything seems to be handled, so all we can do is just wait and see, right?
Absolutely. Things have gotten pretty fucking crazy, but you know what? I would not have it any other way. So join us next time for the conclusion of the Metal Virus Saga.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. Appreciate you tagging along with us. As always, we'll see you next time for the end of this lovely, lovely story.
It's got its songs names. I'll tell you who that is. That is Dr. Eggman. With his evil empire and evil plans. Eggman wants to conquer the world, but the hedgehog won't let that go. Whenever Sonic's anger explodes, his enemies will meet the fury of his aggression. And that will change anyone's perceptions. Without him, what you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventures. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. And the rose can't help but feel after him. He's her superhero, but she's his self-proclaimed girlfriend. He cannot save her, but he will always save her. Whenever something is up, some kind of danger, and the story goes on, it's always super fun.